Hello guys, so I hope you're doing good. As you can see today, I have a guest with me in this video, and in this video we are going to talk about language learning. So he's a great language learner, and in this video he's going to share his experiences with us in terms of language learning. So I think it's time to let him introduce himself. Hello Shadak.
Hello, Salva. Hello, everyone. My name is Shadak. I am a student of linguistics, and I am also a language learner. So it's always a pleasure for me to share my experiences with people about language learning.
Okay, thank you a lot, Shadak. So now what can you tell us about your language learning process? So how do you normally learn languages?
To begin, I would say, as I'm a foreign language learner, the foreign language at which I am better is English. So how do I process to learn English? As I'm not living in America, I'm not living in an environment where English is spoken. So I try to go on YouTube and then to listen to native speakers, okay, that are speaking English. This helps me a lot, and I think that the best way to learn a foreign language is to listen to native speakers that are speaking the language that you want to learn.
Okay, thank you. So I think, as you said, the best way to do so is to listen to native speakers, because by listening to native speakers, you'll be able to, get used to the accent of the language and try to, put into practice some other stuff you didn't know yet, and that is going to really help you learn the language easier. So the next question I would like to ask you now is, how do you think someone can successfully learn a foreign language?
Okay, how can a person successfully learn a foreign language? Before answering this question, I'd like to talk about a theory, which is the theory of the universal grammar, that has been developed by a linguist whose name is Noam Chomsky. He's talk about a universal grammar. He means that every human being is born with some basic elements, okay, in his brain that help this person acquire a language. So even though he has not been talking about second language learning, he's been talking about first language acquisition. But some people try to apply this theory to second language learning, because besides this capacity that we have to acquire a language, the environment is also important. Because if you're not living in an environment where a language is spoken, it would be much difficult for you to learn this language. So besides this basic element that we have in our brain that help us like learn a language, we need an appropriate environment where this language is being spoken.
So I think for the environment, when someone, for example, goes to a country where the language the person is learning is spoken, that can be a great advantage for the person. And what about someone who doesn't have the chance to travel, to go to a country where the language the person is learning is spoken? What do you think the person can do to have such an environment?
Yeah, like you just said, the best thing would be to travel to the country where the language is spoken, because you would be able to bathe in the culture. Okay, so it would be better. But if you're not everyone is able to travel to the foreign country where the language that they want to learn is being spoken. So if you don't have this possibility, you can go on YouTube, like I've just said. You can watch videos of native speakers, okay, that are speaking the language that you want to learn. And then you will also find good teachers, I guess, on some YouTube channels. Okay, you can listen to them and trying to improve your level in the language, because listening is the key.
Okay, so yeah, as you're talking about YouTube, I want to say, for some people who don't really use YouTube a lot to enrich their knowledge in languages, So YouTube is a great opportunity we have nowadays to, improve our knowledge in any foreign language, and even to learn a foreign language by yourself. Because now I speak several languages, and I learned four of them without going to any institute. So I just learned them by myself by using YouTube a lot and some other documents that I download. So as Shadrach was saying, the best way is to create so an environment where we can really practice the language. Even if you cannot travel to a country where the language is spoken, but you can try to make friends to practice the language. That is a great opportunity to really have the language environment Shadrach is talking about. So now the next question I would like to ask you, as everyone can see your English accent is so great. It's like a native speaker. So I think some people may be thinking about listening to you talking about how you get such an accent in English. So what can you tell us about how to get a native accent in a foreign language?
Okay. In general, they talk about 4 skills that one need to master when this person is learning a language. It's like the speaking, the writing, the listening, and the reading. To me, the speaking is the most important. And to improve your speaking, you need to listen to other people speaking. Okay? So I remember once I have met an American. He's been talking to me about my accent because he noticed that he said to me that Shada, your accent is good. And he even thought that I had already traveled to America. And I said to him, no, I hadn't traveled to America yet. But I said to him that what I have done is listening. Like I have listened to foreign. I have said to him that I have listened to native speakers that are speaking the language, and then I improve my speaking. So listening is the key if you want to improve your speaking, if you want to better your accent in English.
Yeah, so I do agree with you, because by listening you're gonna be able to really hear how the language is spoken, how the native speakers speak the language, and then you can try to practice a lot, so really put into practice what you're learning in the language, and then you're gonna be able to get such an accent like Shadrach, the way Shadrach does. So it's easy to do so nowadays with YouTube, because with YouTube you can just as Shadrach was saying, watch as many videos as you can to really improve your speaking skill in a foreign language. And then, as talking about improving speaking skills in a foreign language, I know people sometimes who say they can understand and write in a foreign language, but the problem is speaking. So even if we've already talked about that, what can you tell us in a few words, for some people who have a problem like that, to improve their speaking skills?
Okay, I think the secret for speaking, like I've just said, is listening. As the secret for writing is reading. So if you want to have a good writing in a language, you have to read. And the same way, if you want to have a good speaking, you have to listen. And one other thing I'd like to say to English learners is that not only English learners, like for foreign language learners or second language learners, is not to study lots of vocabularies that they would not be able to use in daily life. Okay, so it would be better to study vocabularies that you will use every day. Like the vocabularies that you use every day, it would be better to study them, because you might study some vocabularies that you wouldn't be able to use, okay, in the real life. So studying lots of vocabularies will delay you in the process of learning the language. So it would be better to focus more on the vocabularies that you really need.
So I totally agree with you. because I know people sometimes who try to learn any vocabulary they encounter in a foreign language. So you're going to forget them if you don't really use them. So you have to focus on what you really need, and like that you're gonna be able to put them into practice, and that is going to help you remember them and speak the language the way you want to. So that's important a lot. Okay, so that's why I totally agree with Shadrach.
And then the secret to have better speaking. Okay, if your writing is good and then you think that your speaking is not good enough, the secret is to listen more. Yeah.
So what do you think should be done in order to keep learning a foreign language once you study?
Okay. So I would say that once a person is learning a foreign language, this person should have a motivation. If I am learning English as foreign language, the question I could ask myself is, how can English be useful for me in the future? So you need to have an interest when you're learning the language. So I think for people that for people who usually start learning a language and then they stop, I think these people might have a problem of motivation. Because once you have a motivation, you will go on learning the language. You will keep on. So I think you need to try to find something that motivates you about learning this language.
So that's the word I was waiting for from you. So motivation is the key to learn a foreign language. That is why sometimes people start and then they stop because they don't really know why they are learning the language. So to really, be motivated, you should have in mind something that really motivates you. Maybe you can be interested in traveling, or you can be interested in being translator or interpreter. So try to keep in mind what makes you learn the language, and that is going to help you stay more motivated after studying to learn the language. So thank you a lot, Shadrach. It was a pleasure to have you with me in this video, and we've talked a lot. So I think everyone who is watching this video has learned a lot from it. And I don't know if you have a last word before we put an end to the video, what it is gonna be.
So thank you, Salva. Thank you a lot. So the last thing I'd like to say to those who are learning a foreign language is to keep on practicing, because practice is the key if you want to improve yourself in learning a foreign language. So practice is very important. And then second thing is, like, they need to try to find a motivation, because if you don't have a motivation, you will be discouraged. So you have to have a motivation, and if you're learning a foreign language, you should think about how this language will be helpful or useful for you in the future.
Okay, so thank you a lot, and thank you to everyone who was watching this video. As I said, I think the video is very important for you, and you're gonna learn a lot from it. So it was a pleasure to have been with you today, and it's not gonna be my last video with Shadrach. So if you want to know when any other video is out on the channel, subscribe to it if you don't do it yet, and don't forget to give the video a thumbs up to encourage us. So thank you a lot. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.